Welcome to a brand new podcast. Ian McLean is a writer and the author of TJ's War. David Blair is an actor and the narrator of the audiobook TJ's War. David and Ian have been listening to their readers and listeners and have decided to turn TJ's War into a movie. And since the story covers the entirety of World War II, the movie will cost at least $50 million. Will David and Ian succeed in their quest? Follow them in this podcast series. We're going to make a $50 million movie.
That's fascinating, Sincera. I think it can take real courage, a profound bravery, sometimes to go down that road. Do you know the phrase? It's something like, the treasure we seek the most is in the cave in which we most fear to tread. And that sense of sometimes you really got to go there. Like you said, that work requires, it's sometimes easier to run a marathon because that's just physical, right?
Yes.
But
Yes.
sometimes that deep down work to address stuff in yourself, that requires serious bravery.
And to say it out loud to others, which I think is what, clearly as trained actors, as you both are, you're used to stating thoughts out to an audience. And to me, that requires a lot of courage to be able to state your truth rather than just keep it to yourself. So I think...
That's a really interesting point, though. I don't know about Sincera, but I sometimes feel like I'm more alive, possibly even more myself, when I'm pretending to be someone else. It's sometimes easier to place that character's truth and imbue them with a kind of breathe life into them than it is to perhaps acknowledge something painful in yourself and go there with a loved one, perhaps. But yeah, that's a really interesting point.
That's the thing about it, right, David? It's that when we're acting, we get to play a character. And not sure if you all have heard the character Tom Robinson in To Kill a Mockingbird. And Tom has like a deformed kind of hand, right? And so I get to play this character. But at the end of the night, I get to hang him up in the closet and walk away. But we can't walk away from ourselves, right? Going back to TJ's War. He was drinking to escape. He wanted to hang. Let me be careful how I say this. He wanted to step away from his personal reality, right? He wanted to get away. He would do anything. But that's the thing about this life. It doesn't work that way.
No.
I also want to touch real quick, because you both said it in your own way. We weren't meant to do this alone, guys. So,
Beautiful.
what is this?
Yeah.
What is it?
Phone.
It's a smartphone?
It's a phone. Smartphone, right? This phone is more powerful than the computers were back in the 1970s and 80s, right? What happens if I don't charge my phone for a week? It's a paperweight.
Or a day, in the case of my aged phone.
But you all get the point, right? This phone is nothing without its connection. And that's exactly how we are. We are nothing without the connections of someone pouring into us. And so the biggest change in my life has been realizing that if I want to get to a certain place where I want to accomplish something, or as we're talking in this conversation, I want to go inside, it's not about me doing it alone. It's about me connecting with the right power sources to help me on this journey.
Yeah, absolutely.
I talk about the fellowship. I love Lord of the Rings as a book first, and then as the films. But I see what we're doing here as a fellowship, and we are gathering people together who there's no control over it. At no point am I or David or anyone else thinking, well, we should get him or we should get her or whatever. It seems as if
you should see the people we rejected, Sincera.
But it really does. It feels like people are drawn towards this, and it's already way beyond anything I envisaged or anything I can control. This is very much something that's happening in the middle of us as a group, and it is a ball of energy that is growing very, very quickly. And I find that fascinating. And this word belief again, the more this ball of energy is growing, the more I believe we're actually going to achieve what we're trying to achieve. I find this fascinating. And it is because there are others, it is because of this connection you're talking about. The energy is coming from everybody else in the room, and hopefully from me too, as we go forward.
It is. For both of you all.
It's becoming more than the sum of its parts.
We underestimate as a society and a humanity how powerful we are when we come together. Okay. So in America, across the pond, we love to raise up businesses and people to a place of, oh my God, this person did it, right? Or they got first place, or they won the championship, or, first place. But where I feel like that misleads people is that they don't see the team that is behind these individuals. And so I my question is, do you all, is in the UK, is that a similar thing, or is there more focus around the team, whether it's sports or, individual accolades?
We say in the UK that we're 10 years behind America. So whatever you guys do in America, we're getting there. We're going the same way. There is a lot of greed. There are a lot of individuals who are claiming, that they've achieved whatever, and now they're getting themselves in trouble. The CEOs are claiming that they've done something, and we've got a really classic example in the last few months of our post office system putting innocent employees in jail. And so this CEO who was running the place for most of the time that was happening has been really placed in the frame and regarded as a lowest of the low for doing this. But the reality is, she had no idea. She's got no idea that this was happening to the largest part, because she's just this tiny single person who, is what we might call a fair weather pilot. When times are good, I'll claim everything, but when times are bad, nothing to do with me. But we have a lot of that going on. Yeah.
I hear you, Sincera, on the kind of individualism thing, and I think the world is certainly going more like that anyway, not just the UK and the States. I don't have any first-hand knowledge of America, but I'd be interested to know what you feel the climate is like in America, because here we had quite a rigid structure for hundreds of years that was headed by sort of a notion of the upper class and the church being an unquestionable authority,
Hmm.
and the government, the army, the establishment. And although that's still there, um, look no further than our current government. Not to make this too political, but the sense of authority with those um, with the church and the army, etc., has largely not disappeared, but waned to a large extent. And nowadays, I don't know whether it's individualism so much, but I think there's certainly a sense of people not really knowing, well, is it my dad that's the authority, or is it me that's the authority over myself? Because there's no sense of, the state being above anyone now. I don't know. I think, yeah, I'd be interested to know what your take on that is. Either of you.
Well, America, everyone has heard of the American dream. And for a lot of individuals here now in America, it's the American nightmare.
Mm.
And that may be strong, but it's just because the cost of everything has consistently been rising since the 50s and 60s. But
Do you
the
mean like a monetary cost?
monetary, monetary
Actual cash?
catch, yes. So, back in the day, I'll say back in the day, my father's time, right? My father's 77. He remembers buying a car for like $1,000.
Mm.
One of his first cars, right? Well, if I tell you all today, well, David, Ian, I have a car for you. It's brand spanking new. It's great. Leather seats, red inside, interior. It's only $1,000. You guys are going to probably say, is there an engine in it? Is there tires on it?
Yeah, you're
Right?
all right, thanks.
Right? And so now, right, we have cars that are 30, 40, 50 up. And so where I'm getting at is just the cost, the monetary cost of everything has just really increased. But the proportion on how people are paid hasn't.
Hmm.
Now,
Mm.
here's the
That's
caveat.
certainly the case here.
The caveat is in America, you can go from 0 to 100. You can change your life like that. But in order to do that, there is a numerous amount of skills that one must possess. Going back to your point, Ian, belief is one of them. You almost have to be delusional to believe, you have to have a level of delusion to believe in yourself so much of that one day you'll have something that you can't see right now.
Read
Uh,
our book, folks. That'll help
yeah,
navigate.
that's right.
Read the book.
Like
Read the book.
I, th- I we should end on that, I think. But I think that history is really important, and we are losing sight of history. And I think when we lose sight of the past and the learnings that people have made through tremendous sacrifice, then we are becoming more and more lost. And while at one level I completely agree with you, Sincera, that the internet and AI are agents of massive change, I think also what they are doing are changing a lot of people across the world to all face the same way. And so so that we lose diversity and we lose the range of humanity that we used to have. And with that, we lose color, we become gray, I feel. And it's very, I don't know, cliche to say that things were better when I was young, but when I was a child, we would go out and play during the summer holidays away from school. We would leave the house at 9:30 in the morning and possibly not be back until 7 or 8 o'clock at night. And when we did get in, our parents would say, "You've missed your supper. It's got cold." You know, it wasn't as if they were going out looking for us and worried about all the stuff that we might do, like falling off trees. Or my friend drove a bicycle into the harbour one day when it was empty. You know, all these things that might break your neck, but they didn't. And children now are just not afforded those luxuries. Everything is very tightly controlled, and I feel it's such a shame.
And on that note,
Sincera, I can't tell you. I think we've got to get you back, and frequently. I think there's some great stuff in there.
yeah,
We've got a chief of staff, and we've got a chief of media, and I think we might have you as the chief of soul. And you see what I've done there.
I like it, Ian. I like it. Well, it's an honor to be here, David and Ian. I thank you all. I thank you all for your souls, right? Because I know in order for you all to show up the way that you do today, you've gone through some things, right? And so that's what's beautiful, is that we're able to touch and agree. And this will not be the last time we do.
definitely not. Sincera, is there? What's your website or social media or anything that you want to get out there?
Yes, so I'm on LinkedIn. So I have a long name. So it's Sincera, S-I-N as in Nancy, C-E-R-A, and then Earl Alexander Mitchell. You can't miss me. And on TikTok, I'm under Affirmation Espresso. So it's like espresso the drink and affirmation. So Affirmation Espresso. And those are really the areas right now. I'll be growing, but of course, anyone wants to connect, David and Ian have my contact information, and we'll love to connect.
If you're listening on Spotify, there will be stuff in the notes, and if you're looking at us on YouTube, we will have Sincera's details in the blurb below the video.
And also on our TJ's War page as well. I'm thinking.
Absolutely.
We should put all the details there.
Yeah, it's been a great pleasure, Sincera. I think there are many, many things that we've talked about, and people will be wondering, why have we talked about this? But the reality is, it's about life, and a lot of these points, just miraculously from my perspective, are in the story of TJ's War, because these things are not new. They've been with us for many, many generations, and we can do things about them. Thank you very much, Sincera. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Again, you'll hear his voice in a couple of minutes, in a couple of seconds as we close this episode down, and you hear Sincera at the beginning of every episode that we have on the go.
Maybe I should close Sincera's. I don't know.
There you go. Come on, David. Let's go.
Go, give it a go.
Yeah. Imagine a world. I'll do my COD movie voice. But no, it's been brilliant. And don't forget to go on Audible, folks. Listen to the book. This is what it's all about. Go on Amazon, buy the print version. Get reading, get listening, guys. And check out Sincera's stuff.
To find out more about the book, visit tjswar.com. And to buy it, click on the Amazon link below. To accompany us on our journey, please subscribe to this podcast because we're going to make a $50 million movie.